Podcast Playground.
Hooray!
This is the Deron Harris Podcast. Here's your host, Deron Harris.
Hey folks, what's up? How you doing this week? Welcome back to the show. Check it out, man. These people, they could be anybody. They could be pharmacists, they could be cops, grocery store managers, your doctor, the high school football coach. They really could be anybody. Many of them are regular functioning and contributing citizens to society. They could be anywhere. They hide in plain sight. They operate with impunity. They are organized. They are prepared. They have a clear agenda. They are empowered by a skewed version of Christianity blended with a far-right political ideology. They are supported by, and at the same time, their very affiliation is denied by the leaders of the political party they support. They are Americans' right-wing paramilitary, militia, and hate groups. And the question is, are you prepared for conflict with these people should it arise? So that's what I'm talking about this week on the podcast. But first, I want to ask everybody how they doing. How are you doing mentally this week? And I do this every week, so, get used to it if you listen to my podcast, because I'm somebody who genuinely cares about the mental well-being of the people in this country and the things that they go through. And now, things are at an all-time high, record levels of people who are suffering from mental illness and anxiety and a host of other ailments stemming from the stressful times that we are in now and are ahead of us. So I want to encourage everybody out there within the sound of my voice to go out and seek some help, man. Go out and get help. It's out there. There are places that you can get free help. You can DM me and I'll talk to you. But there are places out there that are willing and ready to help people who are suffering from any kind of anxiety issues or any kind of mental instability or mental disability or any kind of mental issues. There are people out here, and please don't neglect it, because your mental state is very important. It really governs how we move through life, whether or not we're in a good space or a bad space. And, time and time again, people in bad spaces, they're put in positions where their backs are up against the wall, and, they don't necessarily know which way to turn. So I want to, again, encourage everybody out there within the sound of my voice who is listening and they're struggling mentally, or they are at their wit's end, they're at a loss, they don't know what to do. Please, y'all, don't look at it as something that's embarrassing, because it's not. Take it from me, I suffer from major depressive disorder and extreme anxiety, and I am the biggest advocate for therapy in the world. So definitely take an opportunity to look after yourself mentally. It really does make all the difference in the world. So today I'm talking about America's right-wing militia groups, but I'm going to take a quick, fast break, folks, and when I come back, we'll get right into it, all right? This is Deron Harris Podcast. Be right back.
The Podcast Playground.
Hooray!
Now, back to the Deron Harris Podcast.
So what's up, y'all? Welcome back. I'm talking about America's right-wing militia groups. Now, a lot of people are like, really? Some people know that that there's some people out here in the woods, that kind of, cosplay the military. But these people take it extremely seriously. But there are lots of people that kind of downplay the fact that these groups even exist in America. They don't think that the problem is as serious as it is. They don't think that the groups are really that harmful. Like I said, some people are even unaware that groups like this even exist. People think that these guys are just broke, backwoods, bumpkins, losers with nothing better to do. And in certain cases, they are right. But a lot of these people are ex-military. They are ex-police officers. They're people who have actually had some tactical training. And they are now engaged in a paramilitary group here in the United States. And the reasons are obvious. to them. They think that our country is falling into the hands of people who are untrustworthy or cannot, or previously, let's say previously, because these right-wing militias are exactly that. They are right-wing militias. There is not like, Democratic militias. These are Republicans, okay? These guys are out here. These guys they are Republicans, okay? And they are entitled, and they feel, some type of way about their country being stolen, quote unquote. They feel some type of way about white genocide, quote unquote. And this is their way of combating that. No pun intended. And the question that I proposed is that these guys are out here in the bushes. These guys have been out here in the bushes, and they've been doing this since the 90s. The late 80s, early 90s is when some of these groups started making their and there's been militia groups throughout history. Like back in the 1800s, there was like the Red Shirts or something like that, and throughout the Ku Klux Klan, et cetera, et cetera. But there are so many more groups that have so much more organization now. They are super organized. There are people who are actually pouring millions of dollars into funding these groups, and they're actually being allowed to persist. Now, the question that I have proposed, and I propose this to everybody, especially Black America, because I am, a member of Black America, and I keep my ear pretty close to the ground. And I asked this question. A friend of mine, we were talking about it yesterday, as a matter of fact, and we both kind of agreed that Black America is not ready for a conflict with these people. We are not ready. And the reason why is because, for one, we are not organized. We have no organizational skills. We are too busy in that every man for himself mindset, and we have been indoctrinated into that. We have been forced into that, but we know that. And because we know that, I can't give people the pass who actively choose not to recognize these things and do something about these things, or at least alert other people in our community about these things. What it is people don't even know, because they're too busy caring about ridiculous shit. Whether or not who's going to win the Kendrick Drake battle, or if Shannon Sharp is guilty of sexual assault, or et cetera. Just a bunch of other bullshit in the way. Excuse me. A bunch of other bullshit in the way of of us getting organized and organizing to protect ourselves. Now, I have seen in the wake of some of these neo-Nazi groups marching through town centers, I have seen some black neighborhoods that are armed, and they are starting to patrol their neighborhoods in order to protect their children, and that's where they start. And I've also seen recently, within the last week and a half, there's I think out in California, there's a coalition of Black and Latins that are working together to try and train, to get their training up, to get their fitness together, to get everything on the up and up, just in case these paramilitary groups decide that they want to incite any kind of violence in our communities. So the number two reason is we're not in shape. And some of us are. Some of us are naturally in shape, but a lot of us aren't. We are our people, Black people, we have the most chronic illness. And it's because of our diets, and a lot of it is because the things that have been placed in our neighborhoods. Think about it like this: if you live in an urban neighborhood, if you live in a Black neighborhood, and you want to go get something to eat, and you leave your house to go get something to eat, the immediate choices that you have, none of these choices have really any nutritional value. As a matter of fact, they are made with ingredients that are harmful to our health, and we continue to consume it because it's the most convenient thing, it's the cheapest, it's closest by our homes, and it's easily accessible. And not for nothing, in a lot of cases, it's fucking delicious. It just is. But it's hurting us. And if you take a short drive over to the other side of town and you look at the food choices that they're offered in white neighborhoods, they don't have Popeyes in white neighborhoods. They just don't have it. It's just not there. It's just not a choice. They have, other places. They have more fast casual type restaurants. They have more health oriented restaurants. They have more health oriented activities around their neighborhoods, built into their neighborhoods. We don't have that because we don't have any organization, and we don't have any focus. That's the third one. We are not focused. We are focused on so many other things, so many other avenues, so many other, we constantly chasing a bag that we forget about our own people and the safety of our own communities, because we are so busy trying to put ourselves, our individual selves, up and above everyone else. And that is not the way it's done. That's not the way to elevate our people. You can elevate yourself, but the rest of us, we may not be elevated, and that puts you in a position where you are someplace alone, someplace by yourself, someplace where there are not a lot of people who identify with you. You are a stranger or an outcast. You might be wealthy, but you are not 100% accepted into that society because you're black. And so many times we have, sports stars, basketball players in particular, basketball players, they go out and it's almost like they go find a white wife immediately. You know what I'm saying? And white ladies, they right in college, they right at these little football players, right at these little basketball players, because they know these people are going to be successful. They're going to have a lot of money. And what do? Paul Pierce said the other day, white women, they NBA players go after white women because they're more submissive and they're more feminine and et cetera, or whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is they have made this way. This is a plan, okay? This is, again, another plan in order to infiltrate and take control of the wealth. This white lady, you get married to this white lady. You have a couple of kids with this white lady, or you married this white lady, you didn't have kids, but, you didn't sign a prenup. Now you have to give, if it goes wrong or you pass away, that money goes back to that family. That goes back, and your kids may get some of it, but her and her family are going to maintain the majority of that wealth. Do you follow me? So I'm not saying, I'm not, discouraging anyone from marrying people who they love, especially, if you are in a biracial relationship, but just be genuine. Make sure that it is a genuine relationship. Because a lot of people, they have agendas also. Their parents, they sit down and they talk to these kids before they go to college. And, their thing is to find them someone who can take care of them. You know what I'm saying? And that's all it is. That's all it is. And it happens. And I don't care. I approve of anyone who loves somebody to get married. But if you're marrying people for the specific reason that you think that you are going to benefit, financially from their success, then you have to question, or that person should question whether or not your loyalty is sincere. Number 4 is we don't prioritize our survival as a race. We just don't do that. We don't say, listen, we as a race, we need to survive. We say, me, myself, and I got to make it. I'm in this struggle, man, and me, nobody knows what my struggle is. Well, that's not necessarily accurate, because there are a lot of us who go through that exact same struggle, but we alienate ourselves because, A, we've been indoctrinated into that, but we know that. We already know that, so I cannot, again, give us the pass for not doing what we can to remedy this situation or fix this circumstance, because we are in full possession of the knowledge. We know how this happened to us. Now it's up to us to turn around and undo it and not let it happen again. But we are still easily manipulated. We jump at the most shiny, flashiest things that we can jump at, and they know it. We have to stop being that way. And lastly, number 5 is we're afraid. We're scared. We're scared that something is going to happen, and we're afraid of them. We are afraid to confront them. And it's obvious. And I don't condone violence by any, I just don't. But the guy whose son was just killed by the police officer, that he turned around and took matters into his own hands and ran that motherfucker down. When he walked through when he walked through handcuffed, he held his head up high. He wasn't embarrassed or ashamed. He exacted exactly what he wanted to do, is he avenged his son's wrongful killing. Too many times people get the pass. People get the pass, and we're afraid to challenge that because they do get the pass. So when we march our ass off, but we don't take matters into our hands and say, hey, listen, enough is enough. Don't you come over here with that shit no more. If you come over here with that shit, you're going to find some consequences. We don't do that. We're afraid. White folks, they are prepared for that. They're out in the bushes with their paramilitary factions getting prepared for that. You know what I'm saying? So out of all those 5 things, that make it so that we just are not prepared for a conflict, here are 5 things that we can actually do. Okay? So number 1 is we can start building a solid community foundation. That's first. But that requires that our churches get involved. That requires that our schools get involved, our community leaders, we all get involved. The fucking churches. The churches are the most fragmented. We all worship the same God, but there's 1,001 black churches. There in my neighborhood, in my community, there's church after church after church. And we're all fragmented. And because we're fragmented, you walk into this church, and this church is talking shit about this congregation at this next church. And the next church is talking shit about the congregation at the next church. And the congregation at this church talking shit about the congregation at the next church. And it is a motherfucking vicious cycle. And we don't get anything done. And we bicker amongst ourselves. And our neighborhoods and our children are being broken down around us. And we sit there and we argue at ourselves. We turn all that angst and energy in on ourselves. And that is the definition of self-destruction. And we don't fucking get it. We still walking around here toting guns with our fucking pants hanging off our fucking ass. Felons out here carrying guns. No, it ain't knowing they're not supposed to be getting locked up immediately. Right, like Easter Sunday. I just talked about the Easter Sunday on my a couple podcasts ago. There was a celebration at a park close by where I live. It was a good celebration. It was a bunch of motherfuckers out there, and a guy who wasn't supposed to be. He had just been released from jail a week earlier. Went out there with a gun and shot a fucking cop. He grazed him, didn't, really injure him badly, but he shot a cop. A, you're a fucking felon. You just got out of jail. B, C, you're not supposed to have a fucking gun. D, you shot a cop. And E, your ass is headed back to fucking jail, probably for 20, 30 years. You fucking dumbass. That's the fucking problem. Is our communities are fragmented, and our churches are largely to blame for that. And I'm going to go ahead and call and stand the fuck up on it. Stand right the fuck up on it. And I'll call out any pastor who can come sit here in this chair next to me or get on a Zoom call and tell me how come our communities are so fucking fragmented. We all worship the same Jesus, right? It's the same Jesus, right? Then how come we got 27 churches in a 4-mile square radius? Why in the fuck is that a thing? Why is that a thing, y'all? Why do we allow it? It's because we're focused on other shit. We're not focused. Okay? So the first thing we can do is start a solid community foundation, starting with the churches, the people who claim to be our lifeline to salvation. They need to start fucking acting like it. Number 2 is getting healthy. Okay? We need to oust Popeyes and KFC and all these fucking places that put bullshit chemicals in our fucking food in order to make us fat, in order to give us diabetes, high blood pressure, all of these things. We know this. We need to stop eating fucking pulled pork. We know this. Stop drinking fucking soda after soda. Motherfuckers giving newborn babies Mountain fucking Dew. The fuck is wrong with you? That's our fucking problem. We know this shit hurts us. We are aware that this shit is killing us, yet we continue to fucking go at it. That again is the definition of insanity. Number 3, we need to get organized. We are not organized. Okay? Yes, we are. No, the fuck we're not. We're still running around here arguing and bickering with each other. We don't know which fucking church to go to because they're all fucking fragmented. We're not organized. And the first thing we need to do is admit that. Because once you admit it, you can start working on it. But as long as we sit up here going, no, everything's fine, it's just going to be more bullshit. We're going to go through more bullshit. Okay? Number 4, we need to set a unified goal and develop a strategy for our success. Okay? Our financial success. And that includes everyone, all of our neighborhoods, all of our communities, everybody in our communities. There's no reason that we should not be living in better conditions that we live now. The reason that we do is because of legislation. But again, we fucking know that. So in that, it bounces back in our court to turn around and begin to fix these things. We know they're out to get us. We know they're out to do things to disenfranchise us. But we don't do anything about it. We turn that energy they give us in on ourselves. And we, in turn, shit on ourselves. And they sit back with a big old fat bucket of popcorn and watch us fucking do it. Number 5, we need to get trained. Okay? We need to start training. Go to the gym. Go to the fucking gun range. Start training. And not for nothing, not only do we need to start training, we need to start training in groups. We need to start training together. We need to start getting together and saying, "Hey, brother, we getting together this weekend, and we're gonna do this. You know, we gonna run. You know, a 5K or some shit like that. Whatever. But we need to get up on that shit because they been up on that shit. And these motherfuckers are out there fucking, doing tactical drills in the middle of the fucking woods while we stand the fuck around screaming, they not like us. They not like us. Yeah, these motherfuckers ain't like us. They getting ready to fucking get us. Open your fucking eyes, folks. Open your goddamn eyes. I'm a little upset. I'm sorry. I'm upset because I see these things coming. I see these things developing, but at the same time, I see us not doing anything to get prepared. We're not taking anything seriously. We don't take shit seriously. And that makes me sad, y'all. It really does. It makes me super sad. And we gotta do something. Otherwise, these militia organizations are going to get mobilized, and they're gonna come get us. They're gonna come out and they're gonna try and assert their dominance. They're gonna be in conjunction with the people in the current administration. Now I know, they say that they don't condone these shits, but if you got motherfuckers like Donald Trump telling the Proud Boys to stand by and stand back and stand by, that means that we all know what the fuck that means. We ain't stupid. So the next question is are militia organizations legal? And that is an excellent question that we will get to as soon as I come back from this break. I'm Deron Harris. I'll be right back.
The Podcast Playground.
Hooray!
Now, back to the Deron Harris Podcast.
Hey, y'all, what's up? What's happening? Welcome back. Talking about paramilitary militias and racist organizations in the United States currently. And are we ready for conflict with these people? And, I think no. But, some people think, yeah, and that's cool, but I think no. And the reason why I don't think so is because these people have backing. They have backing and funding, and nobody says, but they have plenty of backing and funding. And listen, they definitely have backing and funding. And I'll say it like this, because if that lady who called that 5-year-old autistic boy a fucking nigga and was able to raise $700,000 on her way to $1 million by claiming that she was a victim, which is absolutely ridiculous. She's being compensated for racism. And it's the same thing with these militia groups. And it's probably some of these people in these groups that are actually funding her. These people, that goes to show you, that is going to show you how many people actively hate. How many people actively hate? How many people actually are on board with our genocide? How many people are on board with these militias, when they start, heating them up, where you think they going first? They coming straight to our neighborhoods. They coming straight over to where we at. And, we got some weapons, but we ain't got no fucking rocket launchers like they do. We ain't got none of that shit. So I asked the question, are militia organizations legal? The short answer is fucking no. Fucking no. But they promote themselves as legitimate organizations that, but they're legitimate and legally protected. And, they're in the right. That's what they promote to people. But, get a load of this, y'all. And this is going to make you angry. After knowing that these groups all exist, in all 50 states, in every single state in the union, private paramilitary activity is prohibited. There can't be these things. Now, you have the right to bear arms, and that's a lot of it. These Second Amendment fucking advocates, that's a lot of these people. Oh, man, you can fucking rats to my fucking guns, man. The Second Amendment says I get to tote weapons. And they do. They go out and they buy every weapon they can buy. They go out and buy weapons that they can't even carry. They buy crazy shit, rocket launchers, mines, mortar shells, all kind of shit. Military grade shit. They have access to it, and nobody says anything to them about it. Nothing. I mean, they really do. They operate with impunity. They can march in the middle of the street and shout and spew hate and nothing. They can shout and spew hate and all kinds of craziness and nothing, but we can't stand up and say equality for black folks because then, they want to come and disrupt that because that's what they did. That's what they did. Anytime that there's any kind of rally that goes against one of their beliefs or ideologies, they spring into action. They really do. They protest also. They protest, gay rights. They protest civil rights. They protest a lot of shit. They protest things that have to do with minorities, black and brown people. That's it. And they've been empowered by the myth of white genocide. And what that has done is that has made people take up arms and say, hey, listen, man, we got to protect ourselves, man. Meanwhile, they're still currently the majority in the country, but one of the reasons that, well, this is kind of off subject, but at the same time on subject. They're deporting a bunch of brown people. They want to incarcerate a bunch of black people. But the Trump administration just granted a bunch of white South Africaners asylum here in the United States, thousands of them. And what that is for is to increase the population of white people in America, because that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to hold their position of power in America. And the way to do that is to deport the brown people and incarcerate the black people and let more white people come in. That's it. That's it. That's exactly what's going on. And white people don't oppose that. They're not going to say, oh, well, no, and no more of that. No, they're not going to say that. Even regular white folks that aren't part of these, they just won't. They're just not going to protest that. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't matter to them. It's just more the merrier. Okay, whatever. And they go about their business. What they don't understand or they don't realize, or maybe they do, is the fact that this is a tactic to uphold white supremacy and the white power structure in America. And these militia groups are groups that are, let's just say, insurance, just in case people get unruly in the government. And it's these militia groups are here to help this administration or an administration who is actively seeking to uphold white supremacy. That's all these groups are. These militia groups, they're white supremacist groups. That's all they are. They can say whatever they want. Oh, we're these guys and we're here. No, you're white supremacists. You're racists. And that's all it is. I'm just going to go ahead and call it out. And if I'm wrong, somebody come on here and tell me some wrong shit. Tell me how I'm wrong. Okay? Now, there's been a lot of shit. There's been a lot of shit that these neo-Nazi white supremacist groups or people who are affiliated with these groups or people who want to be affiliated with these groups, they've done a lot of damage here in America. And they've gotten off. Kyle Rittenhouse, so many people get off for either killing or disenfranchising or black and brown folks. So many of law enforcement, either regular and even regular white citizens who align with that ideology. They do whatever they can to soften the blow of accountability for those people. It's almost like saying, oh, you killed a black guy. It's not really that big a deal. I mean, killing somebody's a big deal, but it's not really that big a deal. We're going to give you this, but, just make sure, that, killing people is bad, but, lucky for you didn't kill a white person. It's just a black person. That's really the way that they look at us. We are disposable, folks. All right? To this race of people, this particular, let me rephrase that. To this group of people, this group of white people, we are expendable. To them, we are like vermin. To them, we are the scourge or the bane of their existence. And they've been taught that also, except for they lean into it. So, like I said, there's been plenty of times that white supremacists have made their presence felt. There's many incidences, and all across the country, every single state. But these people have never been, and still to this day, even the Ku Klux Klan have never been labeled a terrorist organization. But that's exactly what they are. But the reason why they've never been labeled a terrorist organization, and none of these groups have, is because of the government. The government has every power to do that, and they don't. And the reason why is because they secretly support this. Deep down inside, they secretly support this. Well, what about the, hold on now, these guys are upstanding citizens. No, they're not. They're fucking racists. They're racists. There's no other way to put it. These people are complete and total racists, and all they want is to uphold white supremacy. Anything else is irrelevant. To preserve and create an all-white America, which will never happen, by the way, so you motherfuckers are in for a long-ass ride. But that's what they're looking for, an all-white America, all-white dominant America. Their country, when actually it's really not. But this whole movement, these militia groups, man, they feel empowered because they have not, dude from the Proud Boys, they took his ass out of jail. He was supposed to be in jail for 20 some odd years because of the shit that he did, which he should be in jail. He should be in jail. But, there are a lot of people who don't think so because they think that he's right for the country. He's doing the work of the patriots. No, you're not. You're doing the work of racist people. You're looking down at other ethnicities of people who have come together to create America. And you want to strip that away and claim it as your own. You want to take the fact that, black people built the fucking everything. Chinese people built the fucking railroads. You want to take all the Hispanic people and maintain our agricultural infrastructure. But you want to get rid of all of that and claim it as your own. Claim that you did it, you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps, and you guys did it by yourself. That's what you want to write into the fucking history books. But it's a fucking lie. And the whole world knows it. And the whole world is watching while you're sitting here trying to whitewash everything of color here. It really is unfortunate. And my thing is this. There are some white folks that are opposed to these groups. There are some white folks who are staunchly opposed to these groups. And my question is where the fuck are y'all at, man? These y'all people. It's y'all that needs to stand up and say something. You know what I'm saying? It's y'all that needs to get up and start doing shit. You know what I'm saying? It's y'all that need to say, put the shit down. We're not standing for it. Because they're not gonna kill y'all. They're not gonna point their gun at you and tell you, fuck you, because y'all one of them. But us, if we tell y'all stop that, they're gonna point the trigger right in my face, that barrel right, and they're gonna pull the fucking trigger. They're gonna think twice about y'all though, because it means more consequences. It means consequences. It means consequences. Simple as that. So that's it, y'all. The consequences will come if people start showing them that these groups or these organizations are not above the law, and really they don't represent America. They don't really represent America. They don't. They represent white supremacy. Okay? It doesn't, and I'll tell you why I know this, is because it doesn't matter what landmass they're on. It wouldn't matter if they were on fucking Greenland, if they were in fucking, it wouldn't matter. They would still be the people that they are. They would still be these groups. You know, it just doesn't matter that it's this landmass. It's just the way that these people are. The way that they've been brought up, the way that they've been indoctrinated. I mean, there's some people who are able to, you know, to snap out of it and say, listen, this is a bunch of bullshit. But a good majority of these people, you know, they are double down. They are lifelong participants. You know, they are ready. They are ready. And we're not. And if something pops off, man, I hate to say it, but I really do think that this is going to be like the Alamo or the last of the Mohicans. You know, my friend seems to think that he calls them the gravy seals, you know, because it's a bunch of pulled pork eating. Yeah, and it's those dudes out there too. But there are a lot of ex-cops, current cops, you know, veterans, trained military personnel out here sharing knowledge with people in these militias, helping them train hand-to-hand combat. You know, I mean, firearms training, everything. Paramilitary training. And this is going on right here in our country. And I won't even say under our noses because everybody knows. Well, a lot of people know. A lot of people just choose not to acknowledge. Let's put it like that. So who are these groups? Who are these paramilitary groups that are out here that are going to keep America free of riffraff and get rid of all the immigrants, you know, enforce the, who are these motherfucking groups? Who are these groups and what's their purpose? And I'm going to take one last break. And when I come down, I'm going to run some of these groups down for you. Okay. I'm Deron Harris. This is my podcast. Be right back.
The podcast playground.
Hooray!
Now, back to the Deron Harris Podcast.
Yo, what up, y'all? I'm talking about militia groups in America today. Now I'm to the point where I'm gonna, if you don't know, I'm gonna name a few of them. If you don't know, jump online, man. They're out there. Also, there's a few places, a couple other websites you could check out. There's a website for all the sundown towns in America. There's a website also where all of the headquarters or all of the headquarters of the white supremacist movements in America in each state. There's also a website with all of their flags so that you can see what flags they wave, so you know what areas to stay out of or who these people are. And all these websites are very, very informative. And even Wikipedia. Wikipedia has some good information on a lot of these groups, some of the stuff that they've, you know, some of the things that they've done, some of the atrocities that they've committed. A big long list of it. So if you guys are interested, definitely head over to that way. But here are 7 groups that you should be aware of in America in 2025. The first one is the 3%ers. Now they're getting a little more traction over the past couple of years, and rightfully so. There were, you know, a lot of these people definitely support the current administration and their push to turn this into a white dominant community. The next one is the Proud Boys, and everybody knows who the Proud Boys are. The guy who leads the Proud Boys, though, he strikes me as like Hispanic. I mean, his name is Enrique. I don't know where the fuck that came from. That is not a white name, but and he don't look white. He looks, kind of brown, but he's one of the Proud Boys. If one of the leaders. And okay, all right, bro. And then there's the Oath Keepers. There are the Constitutional Sheriffs. I kind of like this name, though. The Not Fucking Around Coalition is another one. The Boogaloo Movement. And lastly, the American Patriots 3%ers. Now, those are 7 groups here in this country that are active. They're active militias in this country, and that's only 7. And folks, let me tell you, there's more. There's a lot more. There's statewide. There's even citywide militias. This is a real thing, y'all. This is a real thing, and it's something that we need to be aware of, because it's kind of under everybody's nose right now, but it needs to be brought out into the forefront so everybody can start taking note and understanding that these people here, they're not good for America. They're not here for America. They're here for white supremacy, okay? Because I am America. My wife is Puerto Rican. She is America. The dude down the street who owned, the Arab guy down the street who owns it, he is America. We are all America. But the only America they care about protecting is white America. We are not included in that. We are not included in that oath to keep Americans protected. We are not those Americans. And we need to understand that. And once we understand that, we need to do everything we can to make sure that all of these groups are dismantled, held accountable for the shit that they do, labeled terrorists as they are. They're not patriots, folks. And if you're one of them and you're listening to my podcast, you're not a fucking patriot. You're a racist. And I'll tell you in your fucking face. Simple as that. And I don't care what your ideology is. I don't care how you choose to justify it. You're a fucking hateful racist. And one more thing before I wrap this up. These motherfuckers walk around quoting Bible scriptures saying that they're doing the Lord's work. These motherfuckers are not doing the Lord's work. They're not. Now, I'm not a big religious guy. I'm a spiritual guy, but I'm not a big religion guy. But even I know that the shit these motherfuckers are doing is not grounded in anything that Jesus ever taught. Nothing. Not a single fucking word. Not a single word. Not a single word. These motherfuckers are not Christians. They're just nationalists. That's it. They're not Christians. They do not uphold the laws of Christianity. They do not uphold the principles and the teachings of Jesus. Do not let them tell you any different. And all you evangelical fuckers out there, you either. If you can sit in a pew on Sunday and praise the Lord and then come out that very same Sunday and call motherfuckers niggas, you're part of the worst ones. You're the worst ones. And I mean that from the bottom of my fucking balls. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Deron Harris Podcast, folks. These militias are dangerous. They're out here. They're armed. They're prepared. And I highly suggest that we get that way too. And I'm not just talking about black people. I'm talking about everybody who opposes these movements. Everybody who opposes these motherfuckers, we need to get on their level. Okay? Simple as that. They don't need to get on our level. We need to get on their level. Because right now, they're entitled, they're empowered, and they're ready. They're ready. They're standing back and they're standing by. They're fucking ready. And we're not. Keep that in mind. I want to thank my parents for giving me this mouthpiece. I want to thank my wife for being my absolute biggest fan and supporter. I want to thank my best friend and producer, Jesse Yandel, for all of his blonde hair and blue eyes provoking and inflaming me to spit out this content. I want to thank Gentry Thomas for giving me the platform for the content, and I want to thank all my listeners who listen to me every week, and everybody who listens and doesn't listen anymore. I want to thank you guys too. So until next week, y'all, stay safe out there, man. And remember, man, we can get prepared too. We can get ready just like they can. We can defend ourselves just like they can. Don't let them tell you can't, because you can. All right? So until next week, y'all, peace.
You've been listening to the Deron Harris Podcast. Subscribe to the show, give a good rating, and everything you need to know is at DeronHarris.com.